Ah, Kingpin, my beloved. Yes, it's a secret to no one that Kingpin is my favorite perk deck. It's super strong, super fun, and allows for some insane carrying. Now, that said, there is an elephant in the room. Kingpin is no longer purchasable from Steam due to licensing issues, but that doesn't mean new players are locked out of it. There are still ways to get it legitimately, being gray markets and traders. While gray markets are a bit iffy and don't necessarily guarantee that you get it, getting it from traders is pretty simple. Okay, so I kinda already did a guide to Kingpin. Exactly 1 year ago, I uploaded this video, and while the editing is choppy and the quality isn't the best, the information is still accurate, with exception of those like 2 or 3 days where Overkill accidentally buffed Kingpin unintentionally. However, I'll go over the main points of that video here in case you don't want to go watch that, even though you should. Go watch it. Kingpin is a health tanking deck, and with a convert, it can take 2 health shots without flinching. But really, who cares about that? Without the injector, you can't have the experience that is Kingpin. The injector is a throwable that makes you stop feeling pain for 6 seconds. Unless it's like, really painful, I guess? For 6 seconds, you will have pseudo-invincibility. It's written pretty weirdly, but the gist of it is this. You take damage and instantly heal it back. This is a relevant detail, as it explains why you can still die to shotgun cops during an injector. They do more damage than you have health available, which results in you dying before you can heal. The uses of the injector are extremely varied, from objective pushing to using it as an emergency backup. Again, go watch the Kingpin guide video for a more in-depth analysis of the injector and its uses. You would be surprised as to what a good Kingpin player can do with just 6 seconds of injector, from precise plays to wild ones. Seeing as you should understand Kingpin now, from having watched the guide, go watch it, I'll just jump right into the builds. Seeing as Kingpin is such a strong deck, there will be people who want to meta-slave. This isn't the sweatiest Kingpin build out there, but it's certainly up there by sheer force of Dragon's Breath Yzma. First aids, 2 converts with a Joker aced, Dragon's Breath, crits, like, what else could you possibly need? Since the Yzma takes care of basically all non-special units with no effort, the Judge only exists for dozers. Remember how shotguns were nerfed from less pellets? What a joke. Is this build fun to play? Well, I don't know. Personally, not really, but I had to include this because the Yzma boosts views by 10%. You could switch out the Judge for an SMG, and it would be better in the long run. However, then you're missing out on the epic meta combo of Yzma and Judge, so pick for yourself. Playing this build is as straightforward as it gets. Spray fire, do objectives with an injector and first aids, get to cover, rinse and repeat. That said, remember that with this build, no matter how hard you hold angles, no matter how many of your first aid kits are taken, no matter how much you hold down assaults by yourself, and no matter how many objectives you do single-handedly, the end stats will never speak the truth about the game that just happened. Let's just say it's to keep you humble. Or just get the mod to count fire damage and flex how huge your cock is for playing such a difficult build. You may be in the group of people whose aim sucks fat dick, and honestly, I get it. Anyway, 19 final accuracy. Did pretty good, in my opinion. Like really, I do. However, Kingpin with sniper rifles has a fun little synergy. You can just stand in the open and line up shots. This won't fix your accuracy, but at least you'll get some chances for easier shots. You could also play super aggressive peeks if you wanted to. Hell, with 6 seconds, what can't you do? You may have noticed that I don't use the usual speculator sight on this, and rather I have a box buddy. For the aforementioned reason, this setup can take its time to go for some obnoxiously long sight lines. Heat Street, Green Bridge, you know the maps. Any of the magnifying scopes will do the job, I just prefer the box buddy. Now, if you happen to be a good sniper and want your team to play on Green Bridge with 0 enemies, give the no fog mod a try. Fog is the only thing stopping sightlines from being even longer, so a good sniper can do some silly things. I have yet to see anyone match Kokoro's KPM on Green Bridge in any vanilla game on any other map with any other build. That was when I realized that the long-range scopes have uses. Though, if you want to be a popsicle, then grab a speculator or whatever your preference is. The only weakness of snipers is dozers, so I grabbed Unseen Strike here. There's no particular reason I aced it, basic works just as fine for clearing dozers. I just had the points lying around. What else am I gonna go for? Spire? Everyone already knows what a crit Krinkog does to enemies, so I don't really need to go over that. But it's nice to occasionally crit with the R700 and kill a special in 1 shot rather than 2. This build is a classic. The very first Kingpin build I ever made used this weapon combo, and despite the fact that the build itself was kinda shit, this combo has stuck with me for ages. It used to be one of the most fucked DPS builds at any range, but due to fun mechanics, this build now only creams everything close to you. There really isn't too much to say here, just beat your enemies with overwhelming force. You can play super aggressive with the injector, and the weapons basically guarantee you'll survive whatever you throw yourself into. The deployable doesn't really matter too much, you can run whatever. However, I do recommend an ammo bag just in case. The micro Uzi sustains pretty well, enough to keep the Krinkovs topped off if you use them sparingly. One thing I do want to cover quickly is reviving people manually. Most people think that the only way to revive players is through Inspire Ace, apparently, which is why the skill is so revered. This is just a stupid idea, and if you think a little bit about what you're doing, Inspire is just a waste of 8 points, hence why I never take it. Reviving manually with basic Inspire is extremely easy, but without Inspire at all is a bit tougher. On everything except Kingpin, basically. Clear the area to make sure it's safe, start your interaction and soak a couple shots, then inject. Manual rise can be done on other decks as well, but they require thinking, timing, and positioning. Though if you want to save yourself a lot of points in the future for builds, this is a starting point. you watch the guide I did to Kingpin, go watch it, you'll remember that I said to not use Frenzy or ICTV, unless it's together. Well, fine. If I have to, then I will. ICTV with Frenzy always takes 2 heavy shots, but your health doesn't. However, by stacking resists and having a convert, you can actually survive health shots. The strength of Kingpin over any other deck here is that you can call enemy attention to you on demand, which helps to proc Underdog. However, that doesn't mean this build is applicable everywhere. I've tried this build on long-range maps like Heat Street, and you just die over and over. Enemies are too far away to proc Underdog, leaving you like a fragile butterfly about to have its wings ripped off by Jared the middle schooler for no reason other than he wants to. Kingpin is generally only weak against green dozers due to the weapon they carry, but this build dies to all shotguns. So, aside from handicapping yourself with this setup, you're also crippling yourself. Seeing as this is basically a bootleg Kingpin build, might as well use the bootleg LMG. Sorry, bootleg AR. Why is this in the AR category again? Whatever. The gun got buffed recently, along with a myriad of other things. They were all pointlessly buffed, except for the bootleg, which did actually need the buff. Now it has a fast reload, high damage, good stats, no range multipliers, concealment, good pickup. What the fuck was Overkill thinking? The compact is just for crowds, and I guess if you want to, shoot yourself during the injector to heal. Alright, so, that said, is Frenzy ICTV Kingpin actually a good idea? What? No! What? No! What the fuck? No! No! Why would I ever say yes to that? Don't fucking do Frenzy ICTV Kingpin. Please! I do things so that you don't have to.
Kill los bastardos.
Hello, it's me, Martino. Tera was looking for someone to collect for his next build video in his Discord server, and Uncle suggested me. So here I am with an epic Kingpin build. So as you saw from the intro, this build mainly focuses on the MA-17 flamethrower. I never see flamethrowers used outside of High Crime Spree, which is a shame because flamethrowers can actually do a ton of damage when paired with crits, which is why I went with the MA-17, since it has quite a lot of concealment compared to the other flamethrower. No, not that flamethrower. That flamethrower. You can still pair it with something like the Bernetti and still have 23 detection risk, however the pistol itself is pretty weak unless you go for pistol skills. The MA-17 also just kinda looks cooler, so that basically makes it 10 times better. This build also comes with Unseen Strike Ace to help you shred dozers with the Cavity. The Cavity will also help you deal with snipers or any cop that is just outside of your flamethrower range whenever your injector is on cooldown, since flamethrowers can't exactly just extend our reach. Once that injector is ready, run in, shoot some flames at every direction, and set those cops on fire. Elon Musk will be very proud of you. Oh, and make sure you pick up those ammo boxes because you will see yourself run out of ammo if you don't do that. That's basically everything. I'll show a bit more gameplay of this build. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Carrie.
That was the legend El Huevo himself. Make sure to check out his videos, as he uploads a variety of solos, duos, and other random GD videos here and there. There's your 5 Kingpin builds, and just a reminder that if you haven't seen my guide to Kingpin, go watch it, that you should check it out. I did a poll for the next perk deck already, and as expected, Tag Team won. Though, not by a very wide margin. Look out for that video in the future, and the other videos I have planned.